Good morning. This week we are talking about managing me. Many times it's easy to manage or know when we have to manage others. We can see it. Figuring out when to manage me, manage myself, not always as easy. Lots of things going on that can get in the way of doing that. So we are going to talk about managing me, when, and more on episode 934 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote provides an opportunity for business owners and leaders to discover what is real for them and to be impacted by what is real for others. That is the Renegade way. Let's get real. We all face challenges and get stuck occasionally and are looking for an antidote. Each weekday, this show dives into a topic that may have you stuck, frustrated, and uncertain. Our goal is to share our value in an effort to help you find that one thing, the antidote to your challenges, so that you can get results and make more money. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing today, Bob?
I am distracted by a cat who has found that I have an office full of things that are loose, and he can chew on them all. And
this is a new cat, as we met yesterday. For
Yes.
those who didn't catch our show yesterday.
Yes, correct. This is a new cat.
Decided to add in another cat.
Yes, because I'm just one of those guys. It makes the other cat better off, apparently. So let me see if I can grab him. Let go. Come here.
Do you need a few minutes?
No, I'm with you. I'm good. See, there he is.
It's not helpful for people on the podcast.
So what you're seeing is what you're not seeing, I guess, for those of you on the podcast, is a tuxedo cat with a nose that's half white, half black, some white on his body, mostly black, and then he's got the cute little paws. Cute little paws that are white that look like little socks, hence his name Socks.
You were tired of going with musicians?
Well, people smarter than me like the name Socks, so I like the name. It fits. It's a good name. Sam and Socks, kind of, not bad.
Wasn't Taylor Swift?
It was not Taylor Swift.
I know you're a Swiftie, so
I know.
I thought maybe that would be it.
Yeah, there were a couple of names of singers, and Baxter was in the equation for a little while. I've always wanted to have a Baxter. So.
Okay.
But Socks really won out.
Fair enough.
So there you have it. Yeah. So.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've done a little better job of managing ourselves today, that we are a little bit closer to 7 a.m. getting started. Yesterday, we were not as successful. Yesterday, I thought, though, even though we started a little bit later, I thought we had a great conversation about why we need to manage me or manage ourselves. And, so I think now the next question is when to do it. You have any thoughts you want to start us off with?
Sure. I'll start us off. A real easy answer. Always.
Really?
And the challenge with that is, it's very hard to do that. It takes a lot of effort. Managing myself, when we do this program's typically 20 or 30 minutes most days. I'm a little tired after managing myself, making sure I don't say anything wrong, making sure I'm following what you say, being thoughtful, because, I could be prone to say things that might be annoying to someone or convoluted. I don't know how friends put up with me because I can be a wild card.
You know what I'm going to say, right? Correct. What am I going to say?
That's judgment.
There's a lot of judgment in there.
But I think that's what this discussion really is all about. Managing me is judging ourselves and judging what other people want of us at the end of the day.
Or we think they want.
Or what they think they want. I was going to say, I don't really know. Half the time, I might not say something and I'll say it to someone later, like, I was going to say that during the meeting. And they're like, why didn't you? And Steven's with us this morning and says, we have 3 cats. They're inside-outside cats. which means you saw what I saw. They're actually my brothers. I have a dog named Turbo. That's a good name for a dog. I like Turbo. And then Steven says self-awareness, question mark. And I think that's what we're really talking about, self-awareness. Are we aware of ourselves? Are we thinking about where our footprint is in discussions, in what we're trying to accomplish? And I can go into today and I can be helpful towards trying to achieve what I want to achieve, or I can get in the way of it. I can get on here with you in the morning and be like, Tom, I hate doing this. I can't believe we get up at 7 o'clock and do this. No one's listening. No one cares. It's a total waste of time.
Steven,
why are we doing this?
Steven is listening and commenting.
But I could come into this that way, or I could come in upbeat. And some days I'm upbeat, even though I'm really not into it. But I know that that's how I need to manage myself into this situation. And there are days where, I don't really look forward to doing the work I have to do. And there are days I'm really excited about it. When I have nothing on my schedule, it's kind of disappointing to me. It's frustrating. And so I've got to manage that and be like, okay, this is one of those days. I don't have a lot of things on my schedule. I need to really keep an eye on it. And Stephen asked me a question, Bob, don't you run every morning? Oh, I wish. I gave up running several months ago to my detriment, and I've got a rowing machine. I am trying to row every other morning. I rowed this morning. I rowed Sunday morning. So I'm
not outside, correct? You rowed in your house.
Yeah, in my house. Yes, correct.
That is an indoor machine, not an indoor.
Yes, correct. In the penthouse. Yes. So, and that's one of the ways that I can manage myself. Believe it or not, when I exercise in the morning, I feel better about the day. I think there's that endorphin rush. I am better able to sleep at night. And so that's one of those things when I'm consistent about that really helps me manage myself. But there are just days where it's like, I don't feel like getting up and rowing. I don't feel like doing this. And I think that's one of the things that people struggle with exercise. Like for me, exercise is not about the physical aspects of it. It's really the mental aspects. Makes me tired at night. Makes me feel better about myself all day, gets me just in a better mental place. The physical aspects are kind of icing on the cake for me.
Okay.
So when you do things to manage yourself, you work out and you do things and you take breaks during the day. And I think when we talk about managing ourselves, some of it's how we approach the day, how we schedule things. Are you someone who likes to work in the morning, the afternoon, the evening? Overnight? Are you someone who likes to work in teams? Are you someone who likes to work alone? Do you need noise in the background? Sometimes I like to work in coffee shops just because I like to see people moving around and feel like I'm not alone. Trying to think how we eat. Your diet can affect your work. Many people will be like, oh, I didn't get breakfast today. I'm just really dragging. Or they eat 5 donuts in the morning, and then they're dragging. Or they skip lunch. Oh, I'm too busy for lunch. That was always my thing. If I skipped lunch, I made bad decisions in the afternoon. So when we talk about when, I've given some examples. Even a big one would be, when do you stop working for the day? Where does that line get drawn? Are you going to work into the night, or do you have commitments? Are you avoiding your family? Are you avoiding whatever? Hey, I've done it. It's easy to do, and so then there's the managing myself for work and managing myself for my personal life, and where does that balance fall in?
So or do you have an example of maybe when you do manage yourself or when you've chosen not to?
So I will tell you, one of the ways I've tried to manage myself that's made a huge difference is on the weekends. I set one day of the weekend aside. I will not work at all. Varies with what I'm doing. One weekend it might be Saturday, another weekend it might be Sunday. But on that day I don't work. I literally don't check my email. I don't respond to people. I just let it go. And I find that last weekend, I think, or two weekends ago, I didn't do that. I worked a lot of Saturday. I had some things I was trying to do on my website, did Saturday. Sunday afternoon, I was working on it some more. And I got really frustrated Monday. I just need that mental break. And, I'm trying to balance going away a bit Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and not working.
Oh, boy.
And, yeah.
You're going to take a weekday and not work?
Yes, correct.
Has the world stopped spinning? And you're okay with that?
I'm working through it.
So is that part of managing yourself as well?
Oh, absolutely. I think, at one point I had a job where I ran a newspaper, and even when I was on vacation, I would work for a couple hours every morning because it just needed to be done, or so I thought. And so there were, plenty of weeks of vacation where vacation really was like 10 a.m. to, the next morning at 7 a.m. And then there was work for 3 hours and then there was vacation. And that didn't feel very relaxing to me. And so part of why I'm trying to be really diligent about not working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend is I just need a break. In the summer of people taking vacations, I didn't take a week off. I took a day here or there this past summer. And even then, I'm not sure I really got away. For me, honestly, if it's a week vacation, I need about 2 or 3 days to really get free of it so I can relax and not think about it. And so a long weekend is great, but not completely getting away from work. I don't know. I'm trying to approach it differently.
Do you feel like it's a constant struggle of trying to manage yourself?
Is it managing myself? Or is it managing my perceived expectations of other people on me? Mm. So, for instance, I asked you if we could record Friday's show.
Yes.
I felt bad about that. It's really not a big deal. It's so...
Because you thought I was going to get upset?
I thought that you would think that I wasn't committed. I thought that you would think I was being lazy. That's in my head. You've never been that way. I think given the situation, you'd be like, dude, go. Have a great time. Why are we even having this discussion? Tell me when you want to do it and let's do it. But I think that perception always is in my head. Do I look lazy? And I had a boss years ago who was like, next job you go to, work at 60%. I'm like, what? I didn't really understand. But then about 2 years later, I realized that what he was really saying is and I ran into him. He's like, your 100% is like our 160%. And you exhausted me. I couldn't keep up with you and you were a pain because you were so far ahead. And he said, so your 60% is most people's 100%. You'll relax more and you'll be more effective within a team because you won't be pushing the team so hard. It took me a couple years to understand what he was saying. It's taken me 20 years more to really appreciate that and to also, in some ways, set my expectations of myself more realistically. So it's okay that, as I think about Friday's episode, part of me thinks we should just skip it for a variety of reasons. And does that mean we're a failure? I don't know. That's for someone else to judge, and I can't really control that. And that's the part that I struggle with.
And does that judgment add any value?
It does not. But I think that's the challenge for me, is not judging my performance against what could be better. Like I rode on Sunday and I rode the machine 2 miles Sunday. And I don't know, I did in like 10 minutes or something. I don't know, 8 minutes, whatever. Today, It's like, okay, I'm going to row 2 miles. I'm going to do it in less time than I did it Sunday.
Good luck with that. Just saying.
But that's how I operate. I'm constantly trying to be one step better than I was last time, which is exhausting. And in some ways, because I didn't achieve it this morning, now I'm frustrated. Even though the good thing is, hey, I got up early, I rode, I feel better about myself physically, mentally. But my time wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was like 8 seconds over.
So you're disregarding all that stuff that you said before that three-letter word. You listed all these things that were beneficial about you rowing, whatever the results were, and then you used a three-letter word.
But
that you love.
But yeah,
it is funny because I think even though someone else had shared with me this whole concept of the lack of value of that word.
Mm-hmm.
I think because of my awareness of that, you say it a lot.
I do.
And with emphasis. It is a definite word that you use emphasis with. If you go back and listen to the episodes. And listen to the emphasis that you put on that, to me, says that there's a lot of, and this is a judgment, so I apologize for that. There's a lot of judgment on how you value things. And sometimes I think you dismiss the value of things with the using that word and the tone in which you use it.
Okay, sorry. Gloves are off. I see how it's going to be from here. All right. I'm going to take some comments because I'm no fool. Steven says, this is really interesting to hear because grass is always greener when I'm sitting there and reading large PDFs on tax law. I'm jealous of people like you. I assume he means people like me that can take a day off here and there. He also says, if you enjoy what you're doing, do you ever work? I would agree with that. And Steven says, when I worked in financial crimes, I was always really pumped to work, but then I still ended up burning out. And I think that's one of the challenges we face, right? If you're constantly working, it's just unsustainable. And is your value in the world based on your work, or is it based on the whole person? For so many years, I think my work defined me. And now I'm trying to recalibrate that and say, okay, work's a big part of what is important to me, but there are other things that are really important. And if I died tomorrow, I don't know that I'd want you to be like, go to the funeral. Yeah, Bob, man, he showed up for every episode. That was really great. He was always on every episode and he always paid attention. He had great ideas for the program and, not as opposed to, played golf with him a couple times. He was a total knucklehead. I don't think he could find a golf swing if you gave him $1 million. And I remember one night we were at a restaurant and there was this waitress that we were talking to, and it was just a weird evening. Just that would be more what I would want you to think about me. But in my head, it's about the legacy of my work.
That's your legacy, is what you think.
I think a lot. I think for a lot of people.
I think a key question is that how do you define work?
That which I do to generate revenue. And based on the tax forms that I saw yesterday, that may be a flawed definition.
So cleaning around the house does not work?
No. Chores. And if you looked at my office today, you would see that I have not cleaned around here. There's paper everywhere.
No allowance for you this week.
No allowance for me.
Okay. I think that's it's like, I was thinking about Steven's comment about if you enjoy what you're doing, do you ever work? And I was trying to decide what I thought about that statement.
And when we manage me, what I've really talked about today is not managing the work, but managing my headspace around that which I do. both work and play. So I can go into Friday and say, oh, I really should be working. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is so crazy. Or I can go into Friday and say, how fortunate am I that I can do this on a Friday and be doing something really fun. And probably, because this happens to me all the time, when I'm away from my work, creative ideas pop into my head. So even though I'm not working, ideas come to my head. And it's like, then that helps work because I can look at things more objectively, more clearly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just thinking about some other things, and that was so sorry. I was sort of lost in thought there for a moment.
No, that's right.
Do you have your one thing about managing me and when?
Well, first I got more. So Steven says a couple more comments. Getting into flow is definitely still escapism, but that's also an awesome way to work. And my cat is, I've got a cursor that I was using to hit the comments, and the cat was trying to chase it up the monitor. So lesson learned. No more cursor. I think for me, managing me and when, it's a constant struggle. And because it's a constant struggle, maybe that means I'm doing too much of it, or I'm micromanaging myself. And I think ultimately it's my expectations. What are realistic expectations? Why can't I row 2 miles in 10 minutes and 28 seconds instead of 10 minutes and 30 or 15 seconds? What does that additional 13 seconds really mean in the scheme of things? But when I got done rowing, I was annoyed at myself.
Or why do you judge that? Because that's the only definition of success.
Right.
It sounds like you've defined success as it has to be faster.
Right. And maybe I'm better off not even timing it and tracking it. Just going, you know what, I'm going to row until I'm tired.
It all depends on what your either definition of success is or how you're trying to gain results. Right. And I think that's part of the mindset. And it's part of I think it's part of managing you is, are we setting ourselves up to not have the success we desire because we're determining it or trying to manage ourselves by what we can't sometimes control? And I think that's, part of it is that trying to figure out when to manage ourselves. I mean, I think one of the answers I would say is when we're trying to do something that matters, that we've prioritized. Like I talked a little bit about yesterday, is I think was sort of why we do it, so that we can focus on the things we focus on. And when we do it is when maybe we are not focusing on those things that we have decided are priorities that we should focus on. I think there's the other side of it is trying to figure out when managing me can be limiting. And that's probably the topic for Thursday is over managing, because I think there's those opportunities that when we manage ourselves, we sometimes reduce the opportunity to have impact on others.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, we also have the opportunity to miss opportunities that could be beneficial for us.
Yeah, I like that. Steve's got a couple more comments I want to jump in with. Sounds like perfectionism, but I'm not a psychiatrist. He also adds, I always just put a towel over my treadmill stats while I'm running. Look at it when you're done. It's a good suggestion. I actually can turn the tracker off, which would be an interesting way for me to approach it Thursday morning. I'll have to try that.
Or just say that my goal is to row for this long or this far. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, maybe it matters. Maybe here's the range that I'd like to achieve it in, knowing that, if you've been rowing 3 or 4 days consistently,
right,
your legs are probably going to be a little tired. And so you might not be able to get the same time that you otherwise would have got if you had completely fresh legs.
Well, and as we're doing this program, I'm watching a 4-month-old cat just completely enjoy a new space and just go pick up things and put things down and scratch things and put his mouth on things and not have any concern for anything. You know, he was playing with a wire that he doesn't know there's electricity. He doesn't know all the things that I know, that I'm more worried about him than he is. He's just going around like that. This is great. He's now chewing on the microphone stand.
So are you managing yourself in this moment?
Well, he's managing himself and exploring without consequence.
Managing yourself?
Am I managing myself?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not sure if I should be watching him or watching this.
Okay.
Because he can find everything.
Well, and isn't that part of the challenge that we have?
Right.
Is that managing ourselves is, in one way, making choices.
Right.
About what are we going to do with all the things around us that we could do or say.
Right.
Did you just fall in your chair?
Yes. And also knowing, I know that if he does certain things, it's going to be bad. Steven asked a really good question. Tom, have you ever had a meltdown before?
I guess it would depend on how you define meltdown. Internal meltdowns, certainly.
Okay. Not external ones.
Not external ones where I would show too much emotion. I had a coworker once, kind of in a public setting, just go off on me about something that was really being asked to be done for that person's personal gain in reality. And pretty much just screamed at me in the hallway. And I think when that happened, I determined that that was not how I was going to show up. And, so to me, a meltdown is, for me, would be losing control and being so worried about things that I can't control. Now, again, internally, sure. I just don't know the value.
That's a good way to lead to a heart attack and all that good stuff. I've learned over the years that it's better to. Whoa, I shrunk. Getting shorter as I get older.
You definitely took a. At one point, you went like, shoot.
Yeah, that would be the cat on the cord. The old cat on the cord trick. I think if you keep that stuff inside, it bubbles up eventually. It manifests in different ways.
If you take stock in it.
Right.
If you're just like, I'm okay with what it is, and I don't see the value in doing it externally, and I don't let it eat away at me too long, which who knows what that means.
I give you permission to do it on a show one day. That would be the best episode ever.
If I had a meltdown?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
I don't even know if I know what that would look like. It's probably why I don't drink.
Yeah.
Because I would feel like I was out of control. I think when we have meltdowns is we probably do things that we later would regret. Or we might look at and say, that's not really how I want to show up in the world.
Right.
Which is a judgment, I know. And I think it is something that I don't see the value in. So why would I want to put myself in a potential situation where I could do that?
Makes sense. Beth is with us, my sister Beth. Good morning. Have a great day and great topic. And Stephen says, I haven't worked since the end of tax season due to the disorganized job search, and I can't wait to work a lot of hours again. There you go. So good luck with that job search, Stephen.
Part of that might be is if you say it's disorganized, how are you managing yourself to make it more organized?
Oh. Okay. There you have it.
I know someone who might be able to help you with that.
Okay. There you go.
All right. So I think we both got our one thing in.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone, Stephen and Beth, who commented. We appreciate that. If you have further comments or you have a one thing that you would like to share, please feel free to put it in the comment section. We know it'll add value to the show, and it might be able to, it might help someone else. Even if you're listening to this later, we welcome your thoughts and ideas again, because as other people see it, they will take value from the comments that you share. If you're listening to the podcast, unfortunately, there's no way for you to comment. So Bob and I created our Sculpt Your Business Facebook group, where you can go in there and share your thoughts and ideas there, and not have them build up inside of you, like Bob's saying. That could be beneficial. So we look forward to see you inside of that Facebook group. If not, we will see you Thursday morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote.
Whatever you do, wherever you go, no matter what your cat's doing to your feet as you talk, embrace the renegading you. It's so worth it. Ouch.
Yes, it is. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day. We will see you soon.
Hey, if you're struggling to manage yourself, guess what? You're not alone. It's a real challenge, and that's why we over Get Real, Get Results, Make More Money program. So you can figure out ways to better manage yourself, to figure out what you're managing, how to manage it, and how to achieve the things you want to achieve more easily, and to focus on what you accomplish, not so much the results, but the steps you take to achieving those goals. That's the pathway to success. That's what Tom and I want to help you with. That's what our Sculpt Your Business program is all about. Hey, get real, get results, make more money. Those aren't just words. We can make it happen. Track down Tom or me, direct message us, or go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. You'll thank yourself for what you've done.